So I'm disappointed because I went and saw, and this is the other thing about the time frame from our TV show or time frame of our podcast. We do it on Thursdays, literally right before major movies come out. And so we're wondering if our timing is a little messed up because we knew this stuff about the Joker last weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Everybody was like in utter confusion as to what they went and saw with this Joker 2 movie, but we had it figured out and we just didn't do a show. So, as it comes to find out, if you haven't seen the Joker 2 and you don't want spoilers, we're definitely going to be spoiling it. So, here is your only heads up and warning. With that said, let's get into it. The Joker 2, if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's big news in the movie world since Megalopolis completely flopped, and now Joker 2 looks like it's going to lose a whole lot of money. We've got a couple of huge tentpole movies that are tanking. Joker 2 director Todd Phillips. You remember he did Joker 1 back in, I think it was 2018, right? 2019, just before COVID, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And huge movie, $60 million budget, makes over $1 billion. But here's the thing: Todd Phillips never intended to make a second movie. It was just a one-time movie. You know, his take on the Joker, right? So Joker 2 makes a butt ton of money, and all of a sudden you're going to have a sequel because who doesn't make a sequel on a $1 billion movie? Todd Phillips does it. It ends up being a little different than what people expected. Brian, did you know that Joaquin Phoenix was never the Joker?
Apparently he was not the Joker, right?
So, and then we're trying to unpack all this.
So what did we go to watch? Let's some random guy.
Well, okay, so that's fair. I mean, if you're a DC fan, and listen, this movie, and the biggest argument I've seen against what's happened here and why people are pissed. And a lot of people now just aren't going to see the movie because they're oh, he's not the Joker. Then why do I want to go see it? Because originally the movie was made, right? Todd Phillips got this movie because we're going to take a look at the Joker's beginnings, right? The villain for Batman, his beginnings from a film noir, crime noir, it was going to be like a different gritty look at this character, right? That was what it was pegged to be, right, Brian? So, and that's what we got, right? We got a pretty fantastic first movie in the Joker, which was, surprising. Joaquin Phoenix was amazing. It was one of those movies like this movie should earn $1 billion, right? There was conflict between, people watching it. So this guy was the Joker, right?
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty rock star origin story for the Joker, even though there's been a few of those. Yeah. Like this was a good one.
It was a good one, right? So now come find out, and apologies if you haven't heard it yet or seen it, but as we find out in this movie, Joaquin Phoenix was never the Joker. He's the inspiration of the Joker. He is, which is weird because at the end of this movie, you find out that, Joaquin Phoenix's character, he just can't do this anymore. And he basically admits that, he just murdered these people and it was on him. And in the end, the guy who I guess actually becomes the actual Joker kills him, at the end of the movie. So, and then that is the actual Joker because he talks about being a psychopath and all this stuff. Now, the problem here is that the reason why people went and saw this movie is because they thought they were watching the Joker. So we haven't even addressed the musical portion of this, but just on story alone, Brian, do you think this is like a big middle finger to DC fans?
I think it's a middle finger to DC fans and to the people that originally liked the Joker. This is my thoughts on it in as little as little words as possible. I think the first movie was supposed to be typical, Hollywood messaging. And they were trying to paint, the Joker in as the crazy person he is. And of course they tried to apply a right-wing stint to that. And they tried to add the incel, white male incel sort of label to that. But Joaquin Phoenix is an amazing actor. And so he played the Joker as, in more of a sympathetic kind of position. And people ended up liking the movie. The people that they were trying to mock ended up liking the movie because they liked Joker.
Do you think he was actually, do you think Todd Phillips was mocking those people?
Oh, I think he was painting the villain as, the poor white masculine incel living with his mother.
I think that's what
Internet troll.
I think that's what the media wants you to believe. I don't think that was Todd Phillips' viewpoint.
Well, I don't know, but the movie definitely literally a guy living with his mom, poor white male, completely devoid of sex and female companionship, goes crazy. I mean, the movie's
Well,
right
he
there.
was mentally ill. He was abused as a child. There's so much more to it than just being an incel.
Of course.
An incel is somebody who just, poor social skills.
But there's more to everyone than just being an incel. Everyone has problems. Everyone has a backstory.
I don't believe that was the point of the first movie, though.
But the movie takes this person that is the people that the left generally hates, Hollywood, etc., and they make him the bad guy. Joaquin Phoenix, being an amazing actor, adds dimension to that character to a point where you actually feel sympathy for him. He literally shoots the media in the face in that movie.
Well, but so listen, we got a lot of bad things to say about Todd Phillips, but he wrote this story. So Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, but he's also acting out the story that was written by Todd Phillips, and Todd Phillips is the one that has him shooting the media in the face. To say it's his idea, this whole incel thing, that's something that was generated by the media. I don't think it was, generated by Todd Phillips.
Let me finish real quick. So I'm not saying Todd Phillips is a bad guy here. He made a movie though that I don't think he expected people to resonate with. People to actually like the character as much as they like the character.
I just want to find out your intention here. Is your intention to say that Todd Phillips intentionally wanted to make fun of incels and that's why he made this movie, or are you saying that?
No, I think that he wanted a bad guy and he wanted to connect it to what the Hollywood hates as the bad guy.
Okay.
The male incels living with their mom. Those are the bad guys. Right, in 2024. Okay.
I can see him wanting to narrate that, but he not intending to make fun of that character, because I think Todd Phillips really cared, at least in the first movie, about this character.
Sure. Yeah. But he connected to the bad guy of the time, and that's the bad guy of our time. And the problem is, all the bad guys like the character. I'm saying bad guys in Hollywood sense. So people like the character. It resonates. It makes $1 billion. Now all of a sudden, Todd Phillips has to make a second movie. So he needs
which he never wanted to make.
He never wanted to make. So of course he goes, well, we got to course correct this a little bit. We got the wrong people looking at the Joker as if he's a hero, right? He literally in the movie shoots the media in the face. Right? Like, you remember that, right?
Okay. So yeah. So you're taking this from
get what you fucking deserve.
Right. But you're taking this from the standpoint that Todd Phillips is trying to send a message that he's trying to correct.
I'm not saying it's malicious. I'm saying the first movie was a massive success, and he's like, we got to course correct a little bit.
But you're saying he's course correcting because that people like the movie.
Yeah, because the wrong people like the movie. Incels like the movie.
I don't think that's why he did.
I mean, look at the media. The first movie came out, and you have the media going ham over all the incels and trolls that are painting the Joker as the hero.
I don't think that resonated with Todd Phillips, though. That's the thing. I think we're putting this. You're giving him too much credit.
I'm not saying he meant to make that movie, but
you're saying he made the second movie as a way to get rid of that in the first.
He 100% course corrected in the second movie.
Okay. But he didn't course correct. Okay, let me tell you what he did.
Well, you're saying I think you're painting him as more genius than he is.
No. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about genius. It's not genius. He promised people something. He pulled the rug out from under their feet, and I, like everybody else, was extraordinarily irritated and upset over what he did, because to me, Joaquin Phoenix is a great Joker. Like, if you look at the long line of Jokers and you go back to, even the TV show, and you go to Jack, and then you go to Heath, and now you look at Joaquin, and you're like, wow, this Joaquin, it's like, just keep leveling me up on people who should play the Joker.
Let's pretend that one guy between Heath and Joaquin didn't happen, though.
Who was the guy between?
I don't remember. Something about
Oh, you're talking about Jared Leto?
Jared Leto.
Do you notice I just skipped right over that?
You skipped right over him.
Like, I didn't, and Jared Leto's
you're like
supposed
from
to
the
be a great
original to Jack to Heath to Joaquin.
I just totally.
Jared Leto's watching like, what the fuck, you guys? You guys
so I was pretty excited, and I'm watching this Joker 2 movie a little differently than it. Like the music part of it didn't bother me because what I realized early on is that all of the musical stuff that's happening is happening inside this insane man's brain. So it's not actually occurring. It's not actually a musical playing out. It's in his head, and he's a crazy fucking person. And this is how he's visualizing it in his own mind. This is how he's experiencing it in his mind. And I thought, wow, that's really creative. That's really interesting. Right up until it got to the point where he's in court and he decides, he goes full Joker. And he's like, I'm taking over this bitch. And I'm like, okay, here we go. The Joker's on, right? And then he's like, I'm not the Joker. And then they blow up the courtroom. He escapes. Like Joker henchmen get him out, right? Put him in a car, and he's driving off. I'm like, okay, well, this is where the Joker's story continues on. And instead, he freaks out, jumps out of the car, runs back into the waiting arms of the police. I'm not the Joker. And then decides, and then gets killed, and the actual Joker kills him, some dude who means nothing at the very end. So what we learn is that Arthur Fleck was the guy who inspired the Joker, but was never actually the Joker. And that's like a big FU to fans, I think. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a massive FU to fans. And I do though, and you're saying he didn't course correct, but like the messaging went way overboard. It's like, let's give up on trying to be subtle with this and just tell you this guy is an insane person. He deserves to be in the system, and then the system is going to dispose of him. This is very clear. And if you want to be an insane person, this is what's going to happen to you.
Well, you could take it from that point. If you have that viewpoint, I'm looking at it as a movie. I'm not looking at Todd Phillips as trying to make a statement on society. I don't know if that's the reason why he made this movie.
Maybe he didn't try to, but he certainly did. Like definitely looks like, from a political point of view,
if you look at
it, messaging is complete.
If you're looking at everything from that point of view, maybe. But here's another way to look at it. Todd Phillips only wanted to do one movie.
Right.
Okay. He only wanted to do one movie. When it went bazonkers, he was basically told, look, dude, you got to make another movie.
Right.
And David Zaslav's like, you got to make another movie. And Todd Phillips, I don't think he wanted to make another movie. And so he's like, well,
we need a Joker too. What?
Because he's a creative type. He doesn't want to make a bunch. The one thing he does not want to do is make a bunch of Joker and then eventually Batman movies. He saw the future of the next 10 or 20 years of his life is making these, and that's not where he wants to go. It's obvious. Right. And so I think what he did was he goes, the only way out of this is if that guy's not the Joker. Right. The only way out of this. And now he refused. And this is one of the things we should talk about. He refused to work with James Gunn after he was, after he became the head of DC Studios. Right. He refused to work with him. He would only talk with Zaslav and some of the other, the people he worked with. He had wanted nothing to do with Gunn. He was its own project. He nothing. He didn't give it any screeners. They didn't show it to any people. The studio didn't want him to go to the Cannes Film Festival. That's a red flag too, right there. Right. So I feel like I think it's more that he was trying to shut down this storyline. And I think Joaquin Phoenix, here's another guy who does not like to do sequels. And here he gets kind of strong-armed into doing Joker 2 with a whole bunch of money, right? Even though he didn't mail it in, he absolutely kicks ass acting in this movie. Okay, and if you take a look at the Joker 2 from the perspective, you take a look at Joker and Joker 2 and you say, this isn't the Joker. Okay, if this movie was never the Joker and you didn't say he was the Joker, but it was inspiring it, I would tell you that these are amazing movies. If this is Arthur Fleck, a guy with a bunch of layers of mental illness and kind of has all of these issues, Joaquin Phoenix, one of the great acting jobs of all time in this character, right? This is fine. But because of the way it was wrapped into being the Joker to get people to go watch it, and now you get the rug pull, now it's looked at completely different. But standing on its own, it really is a masterpiece in storytelling if you just strip all the Joker stuff away, which is really hard to do when this is why you went to watch the movie, right?
Yeah, well, I watched it too, and another problem with, like, I can see how uh someone can like this movie, but a big problem with me is that also it was boring. Like, it was very, very, very boring. I mean, so much courtroom drama. Like, it's almost like all the character development, even if it was character into an insane person that we got in the first movie, was just completely just didn't happen. This is the like, this is not a good sequel to the Joker.
Well, if it's not a Joker movie though, is it a good
If
sequel?
if it's not a Joker movie,
Yeah.
I could see how someone would like it, but for me, it also broke the cardinal rule of just being boring.
Okay.
It wasn't very interesting, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. Even if she's a good singer, Lady Gaga's not a good actor. She's just not. She's not a good actor, bro. Her acting feels forced and unbelievable. She's not a good actor. So if you like her as a singer, great. But it is without a doubt, she is not an actor. Not yet. Maybe she'll get there one day.
She's a net sum zero for the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So they could have had better people play, and I think the reason why she is in the movie is because she does sing. You got to remember, the first Joker movie, Bradley, Rocky Raccoon. What's his name? Plays
Bradley Cooper.
Rocket Raccoon. Bradley Cooper was producer on the first Joker movie. He also produced the movie that he was in with her, where they sang together with A Star Is Born.
Yeah, Star Is Born.
So he wasn't involved in this movie at all. In fact, he had a falling out with Todd Phillips. So they might have been trying to copy that thing with her. But
sounds like a lot of people are having falling outs with Todd Phillips.
Right, which leads us to another element. But finish what you wanted to say about the movie itself in particular, and we can move on to that.
The movie was boring, and I don't like what they did with the character.
Specific. What was boring
all the
about
courtroom drama was boring. Every scene between
Really?
him and Gaga was boring. I didn't like the music. I don't like that.
Did you not like the scene where the little person is on the thing and he's talking about, and he has kind of this character shift? That wasn't interesting to you?
I mean,
Puddington or Puddles?
There was interesting parts to this movie for sure.
That was courtroom stuff, though.
But generally speaking, the movie was boring. I'm pretty sure that the Joker gets raped at some point.
I don't know if that's what happened there.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people
I'm not 100% sure that
but
either. It feels like that's what they were going for.
They say remove his clothes, but also that's because he was in his courtroom clothes, but so I didn't get the impression that they were raping him. I know people went there, but I mean that's not what I thought.
I don't know. All I know is it seemed like that could have been the case. Which again, this is the opposite of what the first movie ended with. Like, this is a character that is falling into his insanity and becoming this awesome character that we all love, even if he's the bad guy. The kind of character you like to see lose, not be humiliated. I don't mind seeing the Joker lose. I want to see the Joker lose. I want to see good, win. But
he's not the Joker. Let's remember, he's not the Joker.
I know, which is just also stupid.
But he's not the Joker. So once
stupid.
you look at it from that point of view, right? Well, let's hear what Todd Phillips had to say about it. This is what he said about his character. He realized that everything is so corrupt, it's never going to change, and the only way to fix it is to burn it all down, director Todd Phillips told Entertainment Weekly when asked about having Arthur confess to his sins. When those guards kill that kid in the hospital, he realizes that dressing up in makeup, putting on this thing, is not changing anything. In some ways, he's accepted the fact that he's always been Arthur Fleck. He's never been this thing that's been put upon him, this idea that Gotham people put on him, that he represents. He's an unwitting icon. This thing was placed on him, and he doesn't want to live as fake anymore. He wants to be who he is. That is Todd Phillips and what he said about that character.
It's cool. Cool. Good job.
So, no, I mean, it's failure. 100% failure.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, you trick the fans by saying it's the Joker, right?
Right.
And then you come back with a second movie. And now if you go back and look at stuff from the first movie. Look at the end of stuff that Todd Phillips said about it. He never said this wasn't the Joker. He never alluded to the fact that this wasn't the Joker. This was the Joker. He changed it when he made the second movie.
They even had like this whole setup with like, here's Bruce Wayne, and
yes,
like, very interesting. Like, this is like we're seeing, a live action, origin story for the Joker, and it works. A guy who was abused, and he had all these horrible childhood drama. The system had failed him. Society had failed him. And he is now mentally challenged and brain damaged, and he is trying to. He's been so beaten down. He goes so far the other way that it seems like a great Joker origin story. Because remember, the Joker. The great thing about the Joker is he doesn't have motivations the way other villains do. Some villains are motivated
he's a psychopath.
Right. Some villains are motivated by money or power or whatever. And this is the Joker who, like Heath Ledger, I'm going to steal all his money and then I'm going to burn it. I don't care about the typical motivations you have. I hate everything. He is just a psychopath. What an incredible origin story for the most famous psychopath in comic book history. And then he's not. And I got to look at Lady Gaga's ugly face for 2 hours.